This is Chapter 9 of A House Tale, which is a documentary of building a small house in the Virginia Blue Ridge Mountains. In this chapter we'll discuss the plumbing for the house and installation of the septic system and the water well. If you have been following along on this journey, you already know I'm the family dog, Sunny, who is narrating this documentary. I have also helped to prepare other chapters of this documentary, which are also posted on YouTube. With all the exterior items behind us, with the exception of the septic and well systems, we could concentrate on the interior items. We had been working some on the interior items during inclement weather, but now we could focus totally on the inside, and since it was summer, we could have some shade. It was nice to be able to plan each day's work and not have to be concerned about rain. As mentioned in the previous Chapter 2, planning, we had already determined the general arrangement and components of the plumbing system and ordered the bulk of the plumbing items online. The tub, toilet, and bathroom sink were obtained from different local suppliers. The kitchen sink was a donated item from a friend. We first reviewed the proposed plumbing fixture layout from our house plans and made some changes that helped with our schedule. We moved the bathroom sink and toilet to the opposite wall. This change put all the bathroom fixtures and the washer connection in one 2x6 wall. Thus, all the piping could be concentrated in one location with the exception of the kitchen sink plumbing. This change also allowed us to get the bulk of the drain piping started off-site. We mentioned this item back in Chapter 6, Walls, where we pre-plumbed an interior wall off-site and then moved it to the site. We had the luxury of working on this wall even before the foundation was completed, thus allowing us to give it a lot of thought. Basically, all plumbing fixtures, tubs, toilets, sinks, washer connections, have to be vented to prevent water from being pulled out of their associated P-traps from atmospheric vacuum. And P-traps are needed to prevent sewer gases, think stink, from migrating back into the house from the septic system. The PVC vent and drain piping that are highlighted in yellow were the sections that were installed off-site. At each temporary termination point, where the piping would either be extended through the floor or the ceiling, we pre-installed couplings during our off-site plumbing. This is another view of the same plumbing area. Note where steel plates are required where the piping passed through walls for protection during the nailing of wall coverings. The pre-plumb wall was actually installed prior to the roof shingles, in order to locate the vent hole in the roof, so the associated vent boot on the roof could be installed at the same time as the shingles. The vent for the kitchen sink was tied into the other vents from the bath fixtures into one main vent before exiting through the roof. Here's the plumbing piping under the floor. Horizontal piping was installed with slopes as specified in the building code. Thus far we have only discussed the gravity sewer drain piping which have solvent welded, glued, joints. What about the hot and cold water piping that is under pressure? This project gave us a chance to learn about Plex piping. We purchased this tool to make the connections. We cut the pipe, more like tubing, to length and then inserted the selected fitting, or fixture, and clamped a copper ring around the pipe. With flexible Plex piping, one can snake the pipe through walls and under walls, avoiding elbows in many cases. Plex piping is also less susceptible to damage from freezing. I mean dog, we were impressed and loved the Plex piping system. Although some of the water lines could have been reduced to 3/8 inch diameter, we made the installation simple, and just purchased rolls of a 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch diameter piping. Using a 1/2 inch Plex where 3/8 inch could suffice, would only make the water pressure better. The Plex tool along with other plumbing supplies came by UPS. One of my main jobs was to greet the driver and make sure he delivered the right packages to us. Building the house also gave us an opportunity to learn about and install a tankless water heater. We found a great deal on a new one on eBay. We discovered that such heaters require a lot of amperes to operate. Since this was new construction and we had not installed electrical wiring yet, this was not a problem. We'll discuss this item more in Chapter 10, Electrical. This experience will help us when it's time to replace our hot water heater in our home. Let's talk about bathtubs. Getting the tub level and properly supported took some time. Most fiberglass tub manufacturers recommend that they be placed on a bed of mortar, and that is how we installed the tub. Being properly supported takes the pressure off of the fiberglass and the associated drain, especially if the tub is full of water, along with the weight of occupants. Tub installation is easier in new construction because one of the 3 surrounding walls can usually be installed after the tub is in place. The wall shown here was installed after we placed the tub. Here's the other side of the tub showing the hot and cold water lines. Although the exterior septic system is probably not classified as part of house plumbing, it does connect to the plumbing system, so we'll discuss it here. Most septic system consists of the septic tank, aka honey storage, tank discharge line to distribution box, and distribution piping to the drain field. In this case, a gravelless drain field was specified by the health department. Here I am inspecting the work. Also, we'll go ahead and talk about the water supply system before we end Chapter 9. We installed the water storage tank, well pressure switch, electrical disconnect, and a water filter system several months before the water well was drilled. We had an ordeal near the end of the project similar to the one near the start of the project, where we had to fire the earth-moving contractor. We lined up a well driller early on in 2019, signed a contract, but he never showed up, and we finally had to terminate the contract. And after much searching, we could not find another well driller that was available. Finally, a well driller called and informed that he had repaired one of his trucks that had been out of service for several months, and he could be at our site the next day. What a relief! We got numerous comments and suggestions of where to drill the well. We kept telling everyone that we only had one place where a drill truck could set up, and that would be the location where we would drill. We hit high quality and quantity water at 260 feet and terminated at 300 feet. Although we installed a water filter system, we never seen any sediment in the filter. By comparison, at our house nearby at a lower elevation, our well is 500 feet and the water is heavy with sediment, requiring filter changes at regular intervals. End of Chapter 9. Dad, when are we going to be able to stay home?